Nice. Thank you for that. Anyway, so we have a forum, so whenever you'd like to.
Yep. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Zara Sedekian. I'm a senior financial programming analyst at SANDAG. Welcome to our selection committee meeting for the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee. And thank you all for taking the time to join us today. And Tessa, our clerk, had already confirmed the quorum. And just would like to provide a quick reminder on the process for the public comments. As noted on the cover page of today's meeting agenda, in addition to emailing comments, the public may also provide live comments during today's meeting. In order to provide live comments, when public comments are called for on an item, on the Zoom platform, click on the raise hand icon in the Zoom toolbar. If you are participating by telephone, press *9. The clerk will call on you by the last 3 digits of your telephone number. The instructions for providing the live comments are also on the bottom of the cover page of today's meeting agenda, which can be accessed from the homepage of SANDAG's website at www.sandag.org. All comments, whether emailed or live, will be made a part of today's meeting record. The first item of today's agenda is item number 1, selection of a chair, and the committee is asked to select a chairperson to conduct the meeting today. As a reminder, this means that we will need to have a motion and a second, and then the clerk will conduct a roll call vote. If you have a question or comment or would like to nominate a chair or a member as a chair, please raise your hand and provide your comment and nomination. Any volunteer or nomination?
Oh, let's see.
I'll do it.
Oh.
You want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, got it. I'll second that. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we need a vote?
Yeah.
Yes, if I could have the maker of the motion, please repeat the motion and your name.
I actually volunteered to go ahead and chair. So it was Sanchez. Who made the motion?
And prior to the vote, I do need to take public comments.
Two minutes.
We do have public comments on this item, one virtual commenter, and my production team is setting up a 2-minute timer now. And the commenter, the original draw, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important, whoever you're selecting to be this chair, because they are conducting meetings, that it needs to be somebody that, you know, will be willing to hear the public comment and be, I don't know, we can just see like what Nora's been doing at the Board of Supervisors, but also at the SANDAG meetings, and, you know, telling people that they're off topic when everything is holistically connected. I think whoever you're selecting should be able to handle, you know, public comment and doing it in a manner that isn't, you know, silencing the people, because it's so important to hear what the public has to say. that you don't just arbitrarily, cut the time, even if there's only a couple of people, or, just treat the public the way that Nora Vargas and or like Ashani Lo Rivera do in not only SANDAG, but their own city or county meetings that they hold. And, it's just sad to see such discord because, under the Brown Act, you have to let people talk about anything and they can criticize you guys, and you can't stop that. And, these other chairs seem to want to silence the people a lot. They kick them out of meetings. So I just think whoever you do select should be able to conduct them in a manner that is conducive to hearing public testimony and not silencing the people. And I'm not saying you're going to, I'm just giving you some things that I think are important. So thank you.
That does conclude the public comments on this item. And I can now conduct a roll call vote for the selection of the Chair Pro Tem. The County of San Diego, 2 representatives, Chairwoman Vargas and Supervisor Lawson Raymer are absent. City of San Diego, Mayor Gloria is absent. East County, Mayor Vasquez. Here. North County Coast, is that an aye? Aye. North County Coastal, Mayor Sanchez.
Yes.
North County Inland, Mayor White.
Yes.
And South County, Mayor Morrison.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously with those members present.
Thank you very much. The next item is a consent item. That is item number 2, and that is the TransNet Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee overview. Is there a motion to adopt to approve the consent item?
I move to adopt the consent item.
Chair, the item is for information only, so no motion is needed at this time. However, if there's any comments from the
Okay.
panel or from the public, we would take those.
Great. Well, thank you. I think we were all very
Right.
happy to be able to vote
Chair-
and say yes. Okay, the next
Chairwoman,
item is item number 3.
I do have public comment on item 2.
My apologies.
The original draw, please go ahead.
It's all right, you guys are new. I think it's important as, with your tasks and what you guys do that, we remind ourselves what the TransNet tax is for. It tends to be going to biking and walking and things, sort of infrastructure for those things when, it should be going to help our roads and driving and making that better. So I encourage you to, really think about where that money is going to be spent. And if you're doing it, that is, if it's lying to the people and saying that, this is going to go towards something and then it goes towards something that has nothing to do with them, that doesn't really make sense. And that's basically fraud, waste, and abuse because, the people are, paying these things under the guise of believing it's going to help their driving infrastructure, not infrastructure for biking and walking. But that's part of the problem, is that the whole agenda is not to keep people driving, it's to keep them from driving. And so you're taking money from people who do drive and are spending it on other things, and that can be negligent because of, really it's, we should be fixing the roads, and the roads have a lot of issues, and it seems to be the plan to, de-incentivize driving because the plan is for people to walk and bike and use public transit. But it's negligent to be using money that the people are paying to drive to go towards other things. So I just would encourage you to think about that and really, do your due diligence to make sure this money is going to the right projects and not ones that have nothing to do with driving. And actually de-incentivizes driving. So thanks.
That concludes the public comments.
Thank you. So the next item is item number 3, for which we are gathered here today. Staff, did you want to go ahead and introduce the item?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The applicants being recommended by the Technical Screening Committee for the licensed architect, civil or traffic engineer category are Francisco Rivera and Brian Stevenson. Both of them both of them are available here today. And the application and resume and the Technical Screening Committee's recommendation memo are included in the agenda packet starting from page 10. In terms of approach to conducting the selection process, there are a few options for the selection committee. The committee could choose to use the material provided in the agenda packet and vote on the candidate for the position without interviewing the candidate. The committee can ask each applicant to say a few words about themselves, and then the committee can vote to select appoint the member. Or the committee could also ask questions of the applicant before making a decision, and a set of questions were provided to the selection committee as an example. However, the selection committee can ask different questions. In previous years, we have started with the applicant giving a brief introduction about themselves, and then the member asks questions if they wish. Then after the committee had an opportunity to deliberate, the vote has been taken. These are, of course, some options. The selection committee may handle things differently. If the selection committee decides to, excuse me, to conduct interviews, then staff will request that the applicants step up to the presentation table. At conclusion of each interview, candidates will be asked to step outside. After all interviews are conducted, then deliberation among the selection committee members could proceed. As a friendly reminder, the deliberation will be conducted in open session and available for members, applicants, and the public. The applicants have been informed of the process. So with that, Chair, we will go ahead and follow your lead in terms of how you would like to proceed.
Thank you very much. We did all receive recommended 4 questions, each one apparently for each one of us. So what we could do is ask each one to give a 3-minute or so presentation, and then we can each ask one of the questions, unless one of the members has a different kind of question they'd like to ask, but perhaps we can all ask the same questions of each of the candidates. So your pleasure. It's hard to see. Is that all right with everyone? That we go ahead and ask each one to present for 3 minutes and then ask one of the questions. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If anyone wants to, we can start at that end.
Sure.
With Mayor White and move this way. I'll take the last question, whoever didn't want to ask the last question. All right. The question I have is, should both candidates be present at the time of this, or is this one at a time? The 3-minute plus the questions.
We can ask the candidates to kindly leave the room while the other candidate is
That sounds
speaking
good
to the
to me.
panel.
It sounds fair. You don't want to, one person know more than the other. So shall we go ahead and start with, let's see, the first application is Francisco Rivera. And we'll ask the second gentleman to leave the room. Thank you. And may the record reflect that he has left. Shall we close the doors? Okay.
I do have a question. Do we have any other candidates that are in the room currently?
No, just the 2.
We do not.
Just the 2? Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Ready to start? Okay, good morning, honorable members of the selection committee. I'm Francisco Rivera. I'm a licensed California professional civil engineer and licensed professional traffic engineer. Both licenses are current with no restrictions, and I'm also chairman of the East Lake 3 Homeowners Association Architectural Review Committee in Eastern Chula Vista. This is a homeowners association with 3,413 homes and a population of over 10,000. In addition to the packet you have about my experience and qualifications, I would like to provide additional highlights and assets I would bring to iTalk. During my more than 38-year career with the city of Chula Vista, I started as a college intern and advanced through the technical civil engineering and transportation engineering positions, and then up to a management position overseeing many public infrastructure projects, as well as helping to develop the annual $20 million to over $100 million capital improvement program. I worked many years with major land developers on over 10,000 residential units and their private and public infrastructure and environmental mitigation measure compliance. I am very familiar with the TransNet program. My experience in developing public infrastructure master plans and impact fee programs helped identify priorities and phasing of new facilities and rehabilitation of older facilities. The planning efforts conducted by SANDAG and the 18 local agencies is similar and must work together for the regional transportation plan. Over the past decades, I have contributed technical work and comments on SANDAG RTPs, amendments to the TransNet Board Policy 31, worked with Project Track and public hearing RTIP amendments, and personally submitted the annual local RTCIP compliance letter. At SANDAG, at a CTAC meeting in 2009, I initiated and made a motion to fund swap approximately $50 million in federal ARA funds, which are the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act funds, for construction to a regional transportation project that was already in the construction phase, in order for the local agencies in the county to receive an equal amount, $50 million, in TransNet funds. This reduced the administrative burden to Caltrans, to SANDAG, and the local agencies, so they wouldn't have to federalize all these projects. This action resulted in faster expenditures to numerous local construction projects, saving months of delays and getting the federal funds spent quickly and giving SANDAG an opportunity to receive a second round of ARA fundings. I've also served on the City of Chula Vista's Measure A Public Agency half-cent Sales Tax Citizens Oversight Committee. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll go ahead and ask you some questions. Starting with Mayor White.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. How did you hear about the position and why are you interested in serving on the Independent Taxpayer Commission?
I heard about the position through the internet. I've stayed very involved with SANDAG over the years. I retired from the City of Chula Vista on May 4th of this year. And one of my job duties was to brief the elected officials that represented Chula Vista on SANDAG meetings, including the executive board, on all matters related to SANDAG, and also to provide my analysis on the SANDAG reports and follow up with SANDAG staff. I've stayed very involved with SANDAG in my participation with the SANTEC, which is a Traffic Engineers Council, the Mobility Working Group, CTAC, which is a Transportation Advisory Committee, various groups and technical advisory groups or ad hoc committees. I've always had that interest in the regional good to help us move forward with the RTP goals. So that's my motivation. I feel that with my background and training and my decades of experience, I've been involved with TransNet since day one. I think that was 2004 or 2008, and I started with the city in 1984. So I've seen it. I've seen the amendments or when it got reauthorized by the voters or extended. And so it's just been my interest in staying involved in the transportation programs for the County of San Diego.
Understood. Thank you. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
You look too young to be retired now.
They're all looking younger now.
I know.
Okay. What professional skills and abilities would you bring to the committee, and how would these benefit the iTalk?
I think the professional skills and ability that I would bring is my transportation traffic engineering background in knowing when projects are feasible or additional studies or issues come up on a particular project. I've been involved in very complex projects involving right-of-way acquisition, trying to get design waivers or exemptions approved through the Federal Highway Administration. We start off with a vision of what a project needs to accomplish, and it's not easy trying to get there. And so my background in having dealt with a lot of challenging projects in the South Bay, I think is something that I could bring forward. Again, I'm also licensed in civil engineering. And so that part also helps me understand a different part of the project that is very important. I have been involved in the environmental phase of many projects. So from inception to the ribbon cutting, I've been involved in all of that. On the architectural side, since this position also is for our architectural person, I'm not a licensed architect, but I have learned regarding our homeowners association we also have to make it visually appealing for the public. And we have spent funds and made projects at the end of the result on bridges or roadways or any infrastructure. At the end of the day, it can't look just bland. How do you make this to be an asset for the community to enjoy? And the architectural elements of a project are also important for me. So I think I can bring all that together to the ITALK.
And congratulations on your retirement. It's a monumental feat. I do have a question for you. What do you hope to accomplish by your participation on the ITALK?
What I'd like to accomplish is that I've been involved in several triennial audits as part of the local agency. And there was always lessons learned of things that could be better, things that were working well. I've made several presentations on behalf of the City of Chula Vista program to the ITALK committee and explained to them how over the years as the board policies were adopted, how they were helpful or where there was some ambiguity to them and improvement needed. And so I think this fine tuning of the TransNet program and continuing to ensure that the local agencies are spending at least their 75% of their annual allocation on time is very important, because as the funds build up and are not being spent on the public infrastructure, construction costs are increasing, unfortunately, many times faster than the general inflation rate. So the TransNet dollars are buying less. I also look to ensure that is there a way to leverage the funds, because we have a revenue constrained RTP. And is there a way that we can leverage local funds, regional funds to bring more dollars into the region and have and encourage the local agencies in the county to have more projects shovel ready, because you never know what's going to happen at the state level or in Washington, D.C.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your interest and for filling out your application. I've got the last question. That is, how does the time commitment required of the position fit in your availability?
Well, at this point in time, I do have the time availability. I am involved with the HOA and the Salvation Army. But as far as the time commitments for SANDAG, it's no issue at me to provide the time that's required.
Thank you very much. Any other follow-up questions?
Yeah, can we add something to the number 4 question, which I think is missing, asking for both candidates? And that is basically, how do you foresee any possibility of conflicts between, I know you said you're retired, but any consulting that you might want to do in retirement or anything else, okay, with what you'd be doing on ITALK?
There is no conflict for me. I think at this point, I am not consulting professionally. And so there is zero conflict possibility at this point in time.
Thank you, Mayor. That is an excellent suggestion. So we'll definitely be asking adding that to that question number 4. So thank you very much, Mr. Rivera, for the interview. And I would like to ask you to go ahead and leave the room,
All right.
and we'll go to our next applicant. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you
Maris.
so much for applying for this position, a very critical position. We'd like to go ahead and ask you to provide a 3-minute statement, and then after which we will each have the same question that we asked the other applicant. We'll be doing that, and that will be 4 questions altogether.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Maris. My name is Brian Stevenson. I'm a traffic engineer with a company in San Diego called Rick Engineering Company. I've been there a little over 20 years now. The first 5 years of my career were in Rochester, New York for a company there before I moved to beautiful city of San Diego. The company I work for, I now manage our traffic department. We have 11 offices, and our 9 traffic engineers perform work for all 11 offices. I prepare both our planning studies, design for traffic projects, and I also provide on-call as needed municipal services to local agencies. I'm currently the on-call city traffic engineer for the city of Murrieta, and I've been performing that duty for the last 19 years. A lot of my projects that I think would be representative and beneficial for this committee would be some of the signal design and communication plans that I've prepared and managed and administered for the city of Murrieta to reduce congestion along some of their major corridors. It's a brief summary of my experience and history, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and start the questions with Mayor White.
Thank you very much. How did you hear about the position, and why are you interested in serving?
Thank you. My former supervisor who got me to move out here from Rochester, New York was Mike Kenny. He was in the previous position on the committee. I also worked at Rick Engineering before he moved on to work at other places. Also, Kai Raymer, who's the president of Rick Engineering Company, was on the ITALK committee, and they both had many positive things to say about being able to assist the community. And I would just like to be able to, I've been pretty focused on my career lately, and I would just like to be able to assist the community and return with some volunteer efforts to help reduce congestion and emissions throughout the region. I have a bit of a commute from Chula Vista to Mission Valley for my work, and I want to be able to play a role in helping to reduce the emissions and congestion.
Understood. Thank you.
What professional skills and abilities would you bring to, and how would these benefit?
Thank you. I'm a licensed civil engineer, licensed traffic engineer, and a nationally certified professional traffic operations engineer. And the skills that I would bring would be my knowledge and experience over the last 25 years of assisting public agencies with monitoring the administration of projects. I've prepared grant applications for signal communication and signal projects, and then the design for the projects, as well as the management once they were awarded, and then the follow-up reporting to, if it was a state fund, to Caltrans through the policies in the local assistance procedures manual. I feel that my knowledge as both a private consultant and working on both private consultant projects as well as for public agencies, I have a little bit of a broad depth of understanding project timelines, schedules, budgets, and adherence to project scope. Thank you.
The next question is, what do you hope to accomplish by your participation on the ITALK?
Thank you. I would hope to be able to see a measurable difference within the region with the reduction of either emissions or congestion or even in minor feedback from the community after a project's implemented, hearing the positive feedback. It's not always that doesn't always happen with traffic related projects. But I would like to be able to see a measurable difference and an improvement in the commute for commuters throughout the region.
Thank you.
And last but not least, last question. How does the time commitment required of the position fit in with your availability? Gosh, I can't seem to say that word today. And also, you have mentioned that you do work and also consult. How do you foresee any conflicts? And if so, how would you handle them?
Yeah, thank you. I've cleared with Kai Raymer, the president of RIC Engineering, my availability for this. I would make myself available and be available for the meetings, for the research and review of anything that's necessary. I don't have any time constraints. I'm a co-parent, so I have children with me half of the time, but I have availability to dedicate my days, evenings, and weekends to assisting, helping out whatever's needed. Well, I'm sorry for the second part of your question.
Yes. You mentioned that you do some consulting work along with advising the city of Murrieta.
Yes.
Right? So do you foresee any conflicts?
No, I don't see any conflicts with that. My commitments to the city of Murrieta are currently, I attend in person at the city hall on every Tuesday. And I know that ITALK meets every other Wednesday, I believe. I won't have any conflicts with their time. Occasionally I have to attend city council, planning commission meetings, which are usually on Tuesday nights as well. Our company has a contract with RailPros for SANDAG, but that's strictly through our water resources department, not our traffic engineering department. And I don't believe we've seen any work come through that contract yet.
Right, so no consulting with agencies in the county of San Diego?
My group does consult with some agencies in the county of San Diego. One of our peer groups serves as the city engineer for Lemon Grove, and one of my staff currently assists in the traffic engineering role on an as-needed basis for Lemon Grove. We also review traffic studies for the county of San Diego and perform on some city contracts in the city of San Diego for some pipeline projects and mobility enhancement projects.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions? No? All right, thank you very much.
I appreciate the
Wait
opportunity.
outside, we're going to be deliberating.
All right, thank you so much.
If you want to call for public comments at this time.
Yes, thank you. Any requests to speak from the public?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Yes, we have one public commenter on this item, the original draw. All right. My screen, there we go. Please go ahead.
Well, this is interesting because it's like Brian didn't seem to have a whole lot to say at first. But the fact that he has all these contracts and already one with SANDAG, I don't know. I just feel like how can that not be a conflict of, I mean, that would seem a little bit biased. But the other guy, I mean, either way, you guys are going to have somebody come in who's going to try and de-incentivize driving. But I'm wondering if this Brian would, you know, like we want to reduce congestion. But the thing is, when we lessen the lanes, like that's not what we're doing. We're creating more congestion and technically more time on the road for people. I don't know. I know you guys don't care what I have to say, but I just think that it's interesting. I mean, and I think that Francisco is obviously going to have more time to do it. There's going to be conflicts with these other meetings that this guy has, Brian. But again, I just think it's sad because we're basing everything we're doing off of fraudulent information. Because, you know, all of the things that we're pushing are to de-incentivize driving, and it's a global agenda with the United Nations and their whole sustainability goals. And so it's just sad because either person you pick is going to be used to, you know, take away options for people to drive and push people into a new way of life, whether they like it or not. And I don't really understand why we want to get electric vehicles when they're literally lithium bombs. But, you know, when you guys want to reduce emissions, you're going to want to pick someone who's going to, you know, encourage that kind of vehicle if people are going to drive. So I don't know. I'm just interested to see who you guys pick, because I bet I'm not going to say who I think it is.
That concludes the comments.
Thank you very much. And do I understand that our deliberations are in the public?
That is correct. They are in
Okay,
open
thank you.
session.
Is there, should we have some comments starting from my left, Mayor White, and then a motion?
You know what? I don't have any comments and I'm prepared to make a motion and will do so. I move to nominate Francisco Rivera.
Yes, we have two really good candidates. And is there a second? Okay, we have an emotion and a second. Any other comments?
I'll make a comment. It's just that I
Yes.
think that you've got two individuals here that are very equally, you know, as far as their qualifications. Francisco seems to have a few more years on it, but not that much of a drastic difference. I think the ability to have less conflict and time constraints, I think is, if you take the two that seem, you're trying to balance out two individuals, you try to take a look at something that might tip the scale. And I think that was what would tip it in my favor. Both of them, I notice, are residents of Chula Vista. I don't hold that against you, but that's okay. And,
I will
so-
try not to hold that against them as well.
I know, but other than that, yeah, I think that's my rationale on my vote.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you. Thank you for submitting your interest to serve. And I'll say that service is quite commendable on anyone who takes time out of their regular life to do so. Your qualifications, both of you, it's very impressive. And truly, to be on this side and to pick one is not an easy feat. So there is one position. But also consider this as we move forward. There's always opportunities to serve. And so keep your eye on what's going on with SANDAG and continue to submit your interest to serve. I do support the motion and the second, but again, you know, continue to submit your interest and serve. And I look forward to seeing you come back to interview for a future opportunity.
Thank you. And last comments, I am supporting the motion. I do think that an extra 10 years is a little more than just a little, but I think both of you are well qualified for this position. And I think the fact that Mr. Rivera has been working with Chula Vista in that capacity and having had all that experience and working with SANDAG staff and local agency elected officials and on the RTCIP and that perhaps you have, you know, just that much more. So I'm going to go ahead and call the vote.
On the motion to appoint Francisco Rivera into this position, the County of San Diego representatives and the City of San Diego representative are absent. East County, Mayor Vasquez.
Yes.
North County Coastal, Chair Pro Tem Sanchez.
Yes.
North County Inland, Mayor White.
Yes.
And South County, Mayor Morrison.
Aye.
And that motion passes unanimously with those members present.
Congratulations, Mr. Rivera. And again, Mr. Stevenson, thank you so much for your application. Thank you. And we're on now item number 4. Do we have any non-agenda public comments from the?
Yes, we do, Chairwoman. We have one, the original draw. Please go ahead.
Of course you guys do. And I'm probably the only one paying attention to the meeting. And that's what's so sad is I wonder why you only had 2 applicants. You know, not enough people know about SANDAG and what you guys do and how important it is because, you know, you're spending the people's money and a lot of it. And, you know, like I was saying before, most of it is not going towards making things like conditions better for people driving. You guys talk about in SANDAG all the time, we got to, you know, less vehicle miles traveled. So it's not really about getting in an electric vehicle or whatever. That's why I don't know if you guys seriously don't know. I mean, you have to know what the United Nations plan is. And, you know, that's what's being pushed. And it's just really sad because that is a global entity that has been unelected by the people. And they're doing things that are, you know, forcing people here into a new way of life. And it's wrong because like I said before too, it's under fraudulent information. Like the climate isn't changing like you guys claim. And, you know, all of these technologies that, you know, they want to use actually need oil to make them. And so you can never get out of your old fossil fuel, you know, it's not even fossil fuels, but you call it that, you'll never get away from that because all of these things are needed in order to create the technology. And, you know, it's like if everybody else doesn't do it, then it won't matter. And it's just like, you know, at CARB, they're talking about, you know, planes and having the ones here in California flying have a certain, you know, type of fuel and then, you know, capturing the carbon of the ones that come outside of there. It's just ridiculous what is happening. And I just, you know, would encourage you to for real, like look into Agenda 21 and 2030 and 2050 and really read it and understand what's going on, that it's not about saving the planet. It's about enslaving the people. And so if you don't know that, you should.
Thank you very much.
That concludes the public comments.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the members, the selection committee members? Yes.
Yeah, for the sake of our public commenter. But one thing, one of the reasons we don't get many applications for these positions here on the iTalk, they are very specific, very professional positions. They have to be people that have the time and are not conflicted out, which the vast majority of people that would qualify under the qualifications, those 2 things would stand in the way. So I say these are very specific and they are not decision makers on the board. Now, personally, and not all of us up here are board members on SANDAG. I am not a board member on SANDAG. So it's, as I say, so I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lack of people applying. It's just that, as I say, this is a very, very specialized field. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members wishing to make some comments? I see none. What about staff? Does staff wish to present any brief updates? Nope. Okay, then I'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much. Where's my gavel? Thank you.